The color of your cat is not decoration. It's a rough instruction manual, and almost nobody reads it. Most people choose on looks. That one's beautiful, that one caught my eye, that one came home with us. Fair enough. But coat color is tangled up with genetics that reach past pigment, and the research keeps finding the same thing. The color on the outside lines up with patterns on the inside more often than chance allows. So you can spend 15 years reading a cat's signals wrong, waiting for affection in a form your cat was never going to use. So today we're going through 9 coat colors and what each one tends to mean, what the studies actually found, what to do differently with each, and at the end, a small experiment you can run on your own cat tonight to see which one you've got. Let's start with the loudest of them. Orange cats have their own reputation on the internet, and the reason goes deeper than the memes. Researchers at the University of California, Berkeley ran one of the largest studies ever done on coat color and behavior. They surveyed over 1,000 owners, and orange cats scored higher on friendliness and affection than almost any other color group. But that friendliness came with a trade-off. Orange cats also scored higher on impulsivity, more likely to act without thinking, to leap before looking, to charge into situations that would make another cat pause. Which is really the point of this whole video. Your cat came with tendencies you can actually read, and almost nobody ever hands you the translation. That's exactly why I wrote the Happy Cat Manual. Everything I've learned about reading cats, all in one place, over at leobennettsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your cat. That's all. Now let's get back to it. So why orange specifically? The gene for orange fur sits on the X chromosome, which is why most orange cats are male. And male cats already tend on average to be bolder and more territorial. Stack that on top of the orange genetic profile, and you get a particular animal. One who wants constant contact, plays rough, and acts before the thought has finished forming. If you've ever watched your orange cat knock something off a shelf and then look at you like they absolutely meant to, that's impulsivity in action. There wasn't a plan. It also means orange cats tend to form intense, almost clingy bonds. They want to be near you, on you, following you room to room. You can work with that instead of against it. Give your orange cat a designated together spot, a corner of the couch, or an end of the bed that's theirs for being close to you. It channels the need for contact into something predictable, and most start going there automatically. Now, the opposite temperament entirely. Black cats. People assume all sorts of nonsense about black cats, but the behavioral research paints a far more interesting picture. A study in the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science found black cats were consistently rated the most easygoing and tolerant of all coat colors. Low on aggression, low on fear, high on adaptability. And in shelters, they settled into new environments faster than lighter-colored cats. There may be an ancestral reason. In the wild, darker-coated animals often survive by stealth, blending in, staying unnoticed until they choose to move. And that strategy seems to persist. So black cats are observers. They watch before they act. If you've noticed your black cat sitting quietly in a corner, taking in everything without a sound, that's the wiring showing. And here's where owners get it wrong. Because black cats are so calm, people read it as distance and assume the cat doesn't care much. But black cats bond deeply. They just do it quietly. They're the ones who sit near you for hours asking for nothing and follow you to bed every night without making a production of it. So with a black cat, try sitting near them without reaching out. Just be present and let it be. Over time, you'll notice them closing the distance on their own terms. Next, the one where the bond gets so intense it excludes nearly everybody else. Tortoiseshells. That's even have a word for it. Tortitude. Researchers at UC Davis surveyed nearly 1,300 owners and found tortoiseshells, along with calicos, rated significantly higher on reactivity toward humans than solid-colored cats. More likely to hiss during a vet exam, more likely to swat when handled, more likely to object to being picked up. Torties vocalize and react without hesitating. The genetics matter here. The tortoiseshell pattern requires 2 X chromosomes, so torties are almost exclusively female. Males are extremely rare and usually sterile. You're living with a cat whose genetic makeup is unusually complex, and the coat reflects it. Torties frequently bond fiercely with one person. They pick their human early, and they commit. If you're the chosen one, you already know. They follow you, seek you out, demand your attention in a way that feels almost possessive. And if you're not the chosen one, they may barely acknowledge you exist. So when a tortie gives you that intense focus, match it. Answer their bids quickly. If they meow at you, respond. If they come over, engage. That reciprocity is the whole currency with this cat. Now, gray cats. And these ones rarely get talked about at all. What gray cats have is balance. In behavioral studies, they land in the middle of nearly every measure. Moderate affection, moderate playfulness, moderate anxiety. Right in the neutral zone. Which sounds unremarkable until you realize what it buys you. Predictability. They're less likely to react extremely to change, less likely to develop behavioral problems under stress, less likely to leave you guessing. For first-time owners or houses with children, a gray cat is often the smoothest possible transition. They adapt without drama and accept new routines without the anxiety that hits more sensitive cats. But there's a specific thing gray cats do that most people miss entirely. Behaviorists have noted they're frequently the first to approach when their human is upset, the first to sit quietly beside someone who's grieving, the first to offer presence without asking for anything. And most owners never register it. They assume the cat just happens to be nearby. But the timing tells a different story. So if you're going through something hard and your gray cat has started sticking closer, they're responding to changes in your body language and routine you haven't consciously noticed in yourself. Now, white cats. And this section matters more than the others. White cats are beautiful, and that beauty comes with something a lot of owners don't know about. Studies have shown that white cats, particularly those with blue eyes, have significantly higher rates of congenital deafness. The same gene that produces white fur can affect development of the inner ear, and many white cats with two blue eyes are deaf in one or both. That changes everything about how they experience your house. A deaf white cat can't hear you approach, can't hear the warning sounds other cats rely on, can't tell a friendly voice from a threatening one. So they compensate. They become hypervigilant, leaning far more heavily on vibration and visual cues and small shifts a hearing cat would ignore. And that can read as nervous or easily startled or prone to freezing when something unexpected happens. It also makes them extraordinarily attuned to touch. A deaf white cat often bonds through physical contact in a way hearing cats don't, and learns to read your body with real precision. The tension in your shoulders, how you move when you're calm versus stressed. So, two practical things. Approach a white cat from the front, where they can see you coming, and stomp lightly on the floor first so they feel the vibration. Those small adjustments announce you, instead of you simply appearing. Calico's next, and they share genetics with white cats, but behave on their own terms. Calicos carry the tortoiseshell pattern with white added, and that white comes from a gene affecting pigment distribution. Here's the interesting part. Preliminary research suggests cats with significant white markings may have different neural development patterns, because the pathways guiding pigment cells during fetal development also guide nerve cells, which may explain what owners describe constantly. Calicos are unpredictable. Sweet one moment, fierce the next. They go from purring to hissing in seconds, then straight back again just as fast. They seem to process stimuli at a different speed, reacting faster and resetting faster, without getting stuck in any one response. Some owners find that exhausting. Others find it endlessly entertaining. The key with a calico is learning their rhythm, because they do signal before they shift. A tail flick, an ear rotating, a small change in posture. Catch those early and you can adjust before anything escalates. Miss them and you get a swat that appears to come from nowhere. So when your calico's tail starts twitching while you're petting them, stop before they tell you to stop. Ending on a good note teaches them that you're paying attention, and that's what buys you the next session. Now, dilute cats. The soft grays, pale creams, muted blues. Those colors come from a specific gene that reduces pigment intensity, and that gene may influence more than appearance. Behaviorists have noticed dilute cats often show heightened sensitivity to environmental change, more likely to react to a new sound, more likely to notice furniture has been moved, more likely to clock a shift in household routine that other cats sail straight past. They have a lower threshold for noticing things and take in more information, which is overwhelming in a chaotic house and deeply rewarding in a stable one. And that gap is wider than for any other color. A dilute cat in a calm, predictable household often becomes the most relaxed cat you've ever seen. The exact same cat in a noisy, unpredictable home might hide, seem permanently nervous, and develop stress behaviors that puzzle everyone. So if your Dilute cat seems anxious, look at the house through their eyes. Construction noise, a new pet, visitors staying over, even a change in your work schedule registers with them. And creating just one completely predictable element, feeding at exactly the same time every day, can make a genuine difference. Pointed cats need stability too, and they have a very specific way of telling you so. Pointed coats, the Siamese and Siamese-influenced cats, come from temperature-sensitive pigment. The cooler parts of the body, the ears and face and paws and tail, develop darker color, and the warmer parts stay pale. Your cat's coat is a map of their own body temperature, which I find wonderful, and the personality that travels with it is just as distinctive. Pointed cats are famous for vocalizing. They meow to greet you, to demand food, and to express strong opinions about matters that do not concern them in any way. Research on feline vocalization has shown cats meow primarily to communicate with humans rather than each other, and pointed cats develop the skill further than most. They worked out that sound gets results. Underneath the talking, they form extraordinarily close bonds. They want to be in the same room as you, ideally in physical contact. Some behaviorists think the genetics behind pointed coats may also influence social attachment systems. The evidence isn't settled, but the pattern is consistent enough that experienced shelter workers can often predict the behavior before meeting the cat. So if your pointed cat talks constantly, talk back. They find the exchange itself rewarding, even if you're only making noises at them. And the last one, bicolors. The tuxedos, the magpies, the spotted ones. Bicolors mix white with one solid color, and the white spotting gene that creates the pattern affects how pigment cells migrate during fetal development. Some researchers believe that migration pattern may influence neural development too. What shows up behaviorally is a blend. The sociability of orange cats, the calmness of black cats, the playfulness of tabbies, in proportions that vary by individual. But one trait shows up consistently. Bicolor cats are clowns. They play harder, they pose more dramatically, and they seem genuinely aware of when they're being watched. Shelter workers report it constantly. Bicolors are more likely to approach the cage bars when someone walks past, and more likely to make eye contact and hold it. They want interaction and they're willing to work for it. They'll learn tricks faster and adapt their behavior to get the response they're after. Which means when your bicolor does something that makes you laugh, expect a repeat performance. They're reading your reaction and adjusting. Now here's the experiment, and you can run it tonight. Pick a moment when your cat is relaxed but awake, settled somewhere, eyes open, aware of you. Then, instead of calling them or reaching out, do nothing at all. Stay completely still and watch what happens. An orange cat usually just comes to you because staying still feels uncomfortable to them. A black cat might glance over and look away. Keep watching and they'll close the distance in a curve rather than a straight line. A white cat reads your body language and waits to see what you signal. A gray cat matches your energy. A Dilute cat scans the room first, confirms nothing has changed, and only then comes over. A pointed cat won't wait quietly. They'll announce themselves or demand you come to them. And a bicolor turns the whole thing into a performance. The dramatic stretch, the deliberate walk, the check that you're definitely watching. Try it a few times this week. Notice what stays consistent and what shifts with mood or time of day. So here's the one thing I want you to carry out of tonight. None of this is destiny. Every cat is an individual, and a shy orange cat and a boisterous black cat both exist. But color gives you a starting guess, a first draft of who this animal probably is, and a first draft is a great deal better than 15 years of guessing. So stop waiting for your cat to show affection the way a different cat would. And if you've spent years thinking your quiet one doesn't love you as much as somebody else's clingy one, let that go tonight. They were saying it the whole time, in the dialect they came with. So tell me in the comments, what color is your cat? And did any of this land uncomfortably close? If you found this interesting, you might like my book, The Happy Cat Manual. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and go and try that stillness test on your cat tonight.